And they said in wintertime, the old coal stove back there in the back, the men sit around and yacked, told stories.
And a lot of news at that time was about the war.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to talk about, when did you meet your future husband, Jack Lucas?
Oh, well, first time I saw him, we hadn't been here because the bus route they picked us up and went over by Glenn's, picked up.
Which was out in the country, that direction.
And Glenda was in school, but Jack was hauling milk. And he was loading milk first time I ever saw him. And then in a week or two, he rode the bus over to Uncle Babe's to pick up the truck. I think it was over there for some reason.
Did he haul your dad's milk?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So he was a milk hauler that came to your dad's farm.
Yeah, and I thought he was kind of cute.
Well, compared to those guys down at Ava, I imagine he was cute.
Mother always said, I don't know why, she always had to go outside for something when the milk truck came.
Just to talk to Jack. And then the war came along, and
well, we dated my junior year a little bit,
okay.
My senior year. We went together about 2 years.
And you graduated in the year of what?
45.
45. And Jack was a little older than you.
Mm-hmm. 2 years.
2 years older.
No, not quite 2 years.
But when did he join the Army? After you were married, or just before you were married?
He was in the Army about a year before we got married.
Do you know where he was during World War II, the end of World War II?
Long Island, New York. Yeah, Long Island, New York, he was stationed. But he didn't, they fixed him to go overseas to Germany, give him the diphtheria shot, he took diphtheria.
Oh.
So he never did go overseas. You've got to take the shot, you got to be able to take it before they send you. And I didn't hear from him, and of course I was thinking, land, where's he at?
Yeah.
And finally a nurse wrote me and said his temperature's been so high he hasn't been able to. And that's
hard times being away from somebody.
Oh, but we were lucky he wasn't in the war. Okay, my brother, he joined, as soon as he got out of high school, he joined the Navy. And every ship they put him on, he was on a rocket ship that had just new experience. And every time they put him on it, something would happen with it. Missed the war completely.
Dangerous situations, but he was able to get through it.
He missed it. But he said, I was in a lot of storms and I didn't think we'd make it. But he said, of course, the ship will take a lot more than you think.
You remember the day Jack came home from being in the Army? He was released? Shortly after that, you got married, I guess.
No, we got married before he got out. We was married.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, we got married in April, and he was in till the next.
In 46.
He didn't get out until 47.
Okay. You remember the day you read in the newspaper or heard on the radio about the atomic bomb being dropped?
I just remember it's all,
Wasn't a real memorable period.
It wasn't memorable. Of course, the day the war was over was very memorable.
What happened?
Oh, my mother grabbed me and shouted and cried because Doyle was over there then somewhere.
A lot of tension release.
And so I said, shoot. And of course, Dad he didn't get home. He's working at B.F. Goodrich, and he didn't come home. And well, Mother's afraid he'd had a wreck. He said you couldn't get out of Springfield. Of course, a lot of the Fort Wood showed soldiers, and they're at the Army base O'Reilly, see, there in Springfield.
So like the roads were just jammed with cars?
Yeah, and people just out on the street yelling and celebrating. And of course, there was quite a lot of soldiers that were stationed up here at O'Reilly Hospital, and they were all out on the street.
That's where Evangel College is.
Yeah. And Doyle was home 1 week, had a car wreck. Of course, he has this arm is just about, he has no elbow joint, and then these bones are all, he has to use it this way. 1 week. And Mom said, worried all that time about him.
And he escaped through the war without an injury and then came home.
But he was at O'Reilly Hospital because he was a veteran.
Okay.
But they saved his arm. They took him to Burge Hospital Big Boy Murphy had a restaurant out there, and Doyle drove out there. A guy sideswiped him in a truck, never knew he had his arm out the window. See, back then, that's what you done. That
Sure.
arm was out the window.
That's how you made
Yeah,
turn
your
signals.
You didn't have turn signal. This was your turn signal.
I remember in my driver's test when I was back in the, well, about 1960, I guess, that was part of the driver's test. You had to tell them how your left turn and
Yeah.
your right turn and stop was down. It was a long time ago. Well,
Oh, I want to tell you about our house.
go right ahead. This house
It would
right
be-
here?
No, no.
Oh, your home went
Where I was raised.
Okay.
It was just a log cabin, like these over here. This,
back toward in Ava.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was so cold. My uncle sent us newspapers from Springfield, and we took those newspapers, made flour paste, and pasted all the walls to stop the cold air. And boy, it stopped a lot of cold air. That's Mother hated that place. I guess I was about 10 when we moved from there. We moved to a nice house. She finally got to move out of that old log cabin, but that's how they had to do. They didn't have anywhere to go and no money.
Yeah.
So you can make
You
it.
could raise a few vegetables and kill a hog or two, then that you would
That's
get
how you
you would
make it.
survive.
Us kids loved butchering days. Poor old mother did, but we loved to scrape that hog. We thought that's fun. Kids nowadays would have a fit.
If you can make work fun, it makes it go a little easier. If it's
Dad was the best dad. Whatever we done, we always, Doyle and I both went with Mother and Dad. Whatever they did, we was right with them. They never left us the house or nothing. We just, whatever they did, we did. And Dad made a game out of everything we ever
he
done.
could have fun with it.
Everything we
That
done,
makes
he
a
made a
big
game out of it. And we lived on the winter time. We had rabbits and squirrels what we ate. We'd have a good rabbit for breakfast. Dad would kill it the night before, and they'd salt it down in cold water. That's what you had for, and biscuits and gravy.
And you fished when the weather got kind of
We never did fish. We wasn't around any, only just that branch in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, we never had any rivers close to us.
Yeah, crawdad tails.
We ate crawdad tails.
And you just had hog just right in the winter when you have to
Yes,
butcher
but you
it.
couldn't keep anything then, you know. And even back then, now Mother would take sausage, you know, and put it down with
Can.
grease.
Oh yeah.
But as far as having anything, know what we had in the summertime? She raised chickens, and you just go out for breakfast. She'd get a little old chicken, wasn't bigger than nothing, and fry it, and we'd all have a piece of chicken for breakfast and gravy.
Have plenty of gravy.
Gravy and biscuits.
Well, tell me about Jack. Now, I know he was mechanically inclined all of his
Little
life.
boy.
That he just had a natural ability to work
He
on
did,
machinery.
and his dad, they said he was 7 years old, and the truck tore up. And his dad, Glenn had to have some ability there. We never did use it because he made Jack. But he had to have for Jack to learn some of that. But the truck was tore, and they always said Jack overhauled the truck at 7 years old. Well, he had to help him. Now, there wasn't any if or ands about that.
But Jack was always a tall kid, so he had some abilities that a small kid wouldn't
Yeah,
have.
it was there. Well, Don had a lot of it. It was there, just there. Now, Mike didn't.
Just
Don did. It was
just a natural.
natural, and Jack had to have because, oh my, he just,
He could do anything,
just
In
whatever
a
it
shop.
was to do, was Dad, you can do it, and that was that.
and he helped his dad when his dad had a threshing crew. So,
I don't think he done much. Now this, if he did, it's before I remembered what they did. But see, he hauled the hay, so he
Okay.
was a hay hauler and baled hay in Kansas, you know.
yeah.
And they done that from the time I began to know Jack, because I know we'd date and I'd get so mad that we'd have a date. Well, Glenn didn't get home. I soon got used to Glenn. He didn't get home with him. It didn't matter to Glenn whether he got home. And I'd swear I was going to quit going with him, but I didn't.
And part of the reason, well, maybe the main reason you guys got in this house is because right next door is the garage. They called it the lower garage in
Yeah.
those days.
And, well, and see, this house, the old highway went down the street here, and then they drove under this porch here was filling station.
Okay.
There was gas pumps out here where these steps are. You can see, you still see if you look closely, the round where those gas pumps sat.
Okay.
And there was just that room there and our bedroom, just those two was all was here at that time. And then they gradually built on, I guess, a dwelling, they built the other two rooms on.